Welcome to Moscow and the live draw for the 2019 Hyundai Archery World Cup Final. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me, former international archer Vanessa Lee.
Very excited to be here. The archers just arrived. They're eating their delicious-looking meals, and I think the environment is just very electric.
It certainly is. It's a high-pressure contest, this one. Just 8 athletes in each of the 4 categories. They include the winners of the 4 stages throughout the season: Medellin, Shanghai, Antalya and Berlin. Those 4, or maybe 3 as we've got some double winners this season, are joined by at least 3 of the highest ranked athletes from across the whole season. And then there's one more athlete representing the host nation from Russia. Really competitive field, Vanessa, across all the disciplines. How the archers, I mean, they, as you said, they've just come in to this fantastic venue here, but they must be a little bit tense.
You know, you can feel the energy right now, and I think archers might take a different approach. They might actually be looking forward to seeing who they're shooting against, or they might just want to stay focused on what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and of course they've got at least 1 day's wait before the compound event gets underway, and then the Recurve event takes place on Saturday, so a Friday-Saturday event. And it looks like we're already ready to get underway here with the compound women's draw. The top 2 athletes are automatically positioned on opposite sides of the bracket, and then the remaining athletes are drawn out by a placing in the bracket. They are placed in alphabetical order. So for this draw, we've got Alexis Ruiz as the world #1 on the left-hand side of the bracket. And on the right, we will have Sarah Lopez. This is for position #2. And as I said, the athletes come out in alphabetical order. Natalia Avdieva of Russia is at the top of the draw, along with Sophie Dodemont of France, Toya Ellison of Slovenia, Tanya Jensen of Denmark, So Chai-won of Korea, and Daniel Wenzel of South Africa. So you can see we're right at the other end of this beautiful hall. We're in a place called GUM. It's like the biggest department store in Moscow, right on Red Square. And as you can see, Daniel Wenzel is out, the South African, into the draw. And there is Avdieva. She will go up against Ruiz, host nation athlete, going up against, well, the debutant who's had a quite fantastic season, Alexis Ruiz. So position 7 for So Chai-won of Korea. And she will go up against Sarah Lopez of Colombia. I wonder whether that's not the draw that Lopez would have been expecting. And So Chai-won also with a tough one there up against Sarah Lopez. So position #6 is for Dodemont.
Tanya Jensen is Dani.
There is Sophie Dodemont.
Номер 3.
And Tanya Jensen goes into position #3. She goes up against Daniel Wenzel. And so the final position there for the Slovenian Toya Ellison. Ellison going up against Dodemont. So there is the full lineup. The athletes all out, big smiles on their face. They know that they've got a day to wait and prepare to go up against their opponents. So the draw is now being confirmed. It's Ruiz against Avdieva. Jensen from Denmark goes up against Wenzel of South Africa. Toya Ellison of Slovenia will take on Sophie Dodemont, the eldest athlete in the field here in Russia. She's from France. And So Chai-won of Korea will take on Sarah Lopez of Colombia. So a very, very interesting draw. Your initial thoughts on this one?
My initial thoughts, well, the one with Sochewan and Sarah Lopez really caught my attention. So they met at the last World Cup finals in Samson, and Sarah Lopez beat her in the semifinals before going to take on the gold. It'll be a very good match.
And any other standouts? I mean, I'm looking at the Jensen-Wenzel one. A big opportunity for both of those athletes.
Yeah, and they actually met earlier this year in Antalya. That's the World Cup stage that Danielle went to go and win, and she beat Jensen in the third round.
Yeah, so really interesting lineup there. I think you're right, the Sochai one and Sarah Lopez lineup. Really interesting. Now, looks like we've already skipped on to the next draw, and this is for the compound men's event. And as you can see, the top two seeds out already for this one. Mike Schlisser, Mr. Perfect from the Netherlands on the left, and Brady Ellison of the USA takes up position number 2 on the right.
Munoz, Colombia. Номер 5. Munoz. Номер 5.
Now, look to me like that was the host nation athlete Valia. It is indeed who's taken up position number 3. And Colombian Daniel Munoz is drawn out. So it looks like it's James Lutz of the USA who's going to take on Anton Belayev. He's had a cracking season. 100% victory on the international stage, James Lutz. And that is Josephat Bosanski of Slovakia, who's drawn against Schlosser. I'm sure that was the one all of the athletes were wanting to avoid. So the Italian Sergio Pagni, he goes up against Munoz. That leaves just one athlete, and it's the Turkish Evren Kairan who's come out, and he's drawn against Brady Ellison. Vanessa, it looks like they're skipping through these draws pretty quickly, so your initial thoughts on this one?
The big thing that stands out for me with this draw is none of these archers, at least from my knowledge, have shot against each other in the World Cup series this year. The big match that's going to really stand out for me is Bolayev versus Lutz. You have the world champion, also world #1 right now, and he's been undefeated this season against someone with a home court advantage.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant season for Jimmy Lutz, isn't it?
He's absolutely fantastic. It seems like he has no fear when he shoots.
And he's probably an athlete that everyone else is. I'm not going to call him a dark horse because everyone knows he is unbelievable. Shot a 150 this year in a gold medal match.
Yep, that's right. That was at his first ever World Cup, and that was his first international competition as well. I don't even understand the mental stamina and the mental power that you need to be able to shoot something like
Well,
it.
he just walked past us there, actually. Yeah, he's a very impressive athlete. And but it looks like we are actually going to get a couple of chats with the athletes here, and it looks like we're going to go and join them on the podium. Here we are, and I think it's going to be Alexis Ruiz who's going to be up first.
Alexis, congratulations, you're at the World Cup final. Your first season as international and your first match will be against Natalia Avdieva. What do you think about facing her on home soil here in Moscow?
I'm actually pretty excited for it. She's a good shooter and she's home. So I know the crowd will be really loud, but she's really nice. I love talking to her and shooting with her, so I'm actually really excited for it.
This year you medaled at every single stage of the international circuit. What was it like to make such a successful debut and especially finish it with gold in Berlin?
It was shocking. I definitely did not expect my first year to go so well, but I just kept shooting my best and it got me to a medal at every tournament.
What's the key, do you think, for you to win not just your first match against Natalia, but the whole event here in Moscow?
Making strong shots and making the best shots I can, and running my mental program that I run on every single shot.
Congratulations for being here and good luck for the weekends.
Thank you.
Well, we talked about Jimmy Lutz having a great debut on the season, and Ruiz, well, she's just got better and better.
She has. She stormed onto the scene with a bronze medal at her first World Cup, followed that up with another bronze, and then went to silver and then gold. She's just unstoppable right now in her first season, and now she's ranked #1 in the world.
Yeah, on the one hand, being so young in her debutante season, she's not got too much pressure on her, so she can, I should say, go through her process. It's not always as easy as that, of course, but it's kind of a similar situation for her opponent. Avdieva has nothing to lose here, so no pressure on the Russian athlete here in Moscow.
You know, that's true. She has something to prove, though, to maybe herself. She is the reigning world champion right now. Even though she didn't earn her spot with the rankings, she does have something to prove as the reigning world.
Well, there we go. Ruiz will go up against Avdieva, and we were lucky enough to get to speak with her. At the top half of the draw, it's Tanja Jensen against Daniel Wenzel, and in the bottom half of that women's compound category, it's Ellison against Dodemont and So Chai-Wan against Sarah Lopez. So a really interesting one. But how about an interview with Mr. Perfect here? Let's go down to the podium and speak to Mike Schlichter from the Netherlands.
Mikey, congratulations for making it to Moscow. A good year for you overall, wouldn't you say?
Yes, for sure. Like, I have made a lot of podiums, a lot of good matches. I felt like my level was definitely here this year.
You took your draw today. Who's up against you in the first match?
A guy from Slovakia.
And what do you feel about that draw?
I think like no matter what, like all top 8 people that are here can be winning it, like be at the end at the top spot of the podium. So I don't think that the draw is that important. It's just who has the level at that day is going to win.
And you've been to a number of World Cup finals now. You know what it's like to be here. You know what it's like to shoot in one. What's the key to going into Friday morning with the right level, with the right mindset to take it all the way?
I think you need to just keep it calm. Like we've been here all year long. We've been working for it. This is time to show it, and I think that's what you need to think about, like the bigger picture, kind of.
You shot really well at the World Championships. We're just unlucky in home soil not to make it all the way. The World Champion is here, James Lutz, and he's in your side of the bracket. Would you like to face him? Are you looking forward to facing him?
Of course I'm looking for some revenge. He won there at the tournament for me, and now it's my turn, I think.
Well, congratulations. Good luck with the tournament this weekend, and enjoy yourself.
That guy from Slovakia is Josephat Bosanski. I think you've got to say Sir Perfect. Mike Schlichter is probably the favourite in that top half of the draw.
Yeah, I'd have to say so, but interestingly, at the World Cup final, he hasn't had much success. So he's been to quite a few. It's his fifth consecutive appearance here, but he only has 1 gold in Odense in 2016.
And in that top half of the draw, he also alluded to that matchup between Anton Bulaev and Jimmy Lutz. We talked about Jimmy Lutz having a great start to the season, 100% victory on the international stage. That's a tasty little semi-final that could be on the cards for us.
That is, and sorry, my correction, he's not world ranked #1, but he is world champion. I think it's going to be a really good match because I think Bulaev might actually be a little bit of a dark horse and unexpected to see how well he's going to shoot, but I think he'll do just fine.
At the bottom half of the draw sees Daniel Munoz of Colombia go up against Sergio Pagni of Italy, and then it's Evren Kyron against the superstar that is Brady Ellison from the USA. How do you see the bottom half of the draw?
Yeah, the bottom half isn't going to be any easier than the top half. So Brady Ellison is a veteran, and he is actually the world ranked #1. Kyron is going to be, it's going to be a very difficult match for the both of them. So they've won a lot of things throughout the entire year, and I don't think they've actually met before this season, so I think it'll be an interesting one to watch.
And Kyron picked up a bronze medal at the European Games in Minsk just recently. He's climbed up to #4 in the world. He's on good form at the moment.
He is, and he has a slightly different shooting style from compared to some of the other archers. I think the most important thing might be how he handles himself from a psychological point of view and mentally.
Yeah, so the lineup's now complete. What would be the stand-up in that men's quarterfinal?
I'm really interested in the Munoz and Pani match because Sergio's shot over 50 World Cup stages now. Munoz is still a young guy, but he's proven himself to be a very, very consistent archer. He's still quite young, but I think he's going to do a good job against Pani. We'll see what wins, youth or experience.
Well, and the interesting thing about Pani is that he's made a couple of quarterfinal appearances this season, and sometimes when have someone of that experience making it through, you expect them to get through. But he got knocked out by Schlusser in Medellin and by Lutz in Antalya, and of course he's in the other half of the draw.
Yeah, he used to be very, very dominant back in 2009, 2010. That's when he won both World Cup finals, and I think he's waiting for his moment to come back right now.
So really interesting lineups in both the compound women's category and the men's category here at this brilliant venue, as we got a little sneaky glimpse of Mete Gazos there, because he's here with quite a big contingent from Turkey.
Yeah, they've done a lot better recently. I remember when I was shooting, Turkey wasn't even, a name to beat, but now they're very, very strong archers and across all 4 categories. He looked quite calm there, but I'm sure he's a little bit tense waiting for his draw.
Well, he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. The men's draw for the Recurve event is coming up very shortly, but next up is going to be the draw for the Recurve women's discipline. And it looks like they're nearly ready to come out. And as I said, the top 2 seeds go onto the draw automatically. You've seen them coming up on that sort of mock-up of a draw of bracket on the back wall, on the left and the right. And here we are, the athletes coming out. And that's Tanya Ting of Chinese Taipei, who fills the top spot, #1 position in the bracket, and Kang Chae-young of Korea on as #2 seed. Top 2 seeds go straight in. The rest of the athletes are drawn out and told in alphabetical order, but they are An Ki-jun of Korea, Melanie Gobel of France, Sayana Lee from Russia, another Russian, Ksenia Perova, who qualified by ranking, by rights. Lee is the one that's taken the host nation spot. Tomomi Sugimoto of Japan, and Zheng Yi Chai of China. So we have our first athlete out. Filling the position there. Didn't quite catch where she was. I think it was position #4. It is indeed. And there is Lee filling out position at #7. So she's going to go up against Kang, the Russian host nation spot going to Lee, and she gets the pleasure of facing Kang Chae-young. Looks like it's position #6. It's upside down, and that is for Perova. So 2 more places to fill here. #2 position, the opponent against Tanya Ting, the world #1. And it's Sugimoto there, the Japanese athlete who goes up against Tan. So the final position is for Zheng. So the lineup has been completed for the women's recurve category. There are the athletes. Tanya Ting of Chinese Taipei will go up against Tomomi Sugimoto of Japan. Melanie Gobel of France will go up against An Ki-jun of China. It's Zheng Yi Chai, also of China, up against Ksenia Perova. And Sayana Lee has a tough match against Kang Chae-young from Korea. The athletes just parading off there, and you join us back up the other end of this brilliant venue, Vanessa. Do you think the #1 and #2 seeds are going to be relatively happy with their draw? Kang up against the wildcard Lee, the host nation spot.
Yeah, I think so. I think Kang Chae-young, just knowing her, she's a very calm, collected person. She's going to stay focused on what she's doing, and I think no matter who she's facing, she's going to be okay. Tanya Ting is going to be interesting because she is #1 ranked, but she's going against Sugimoto, who she lost against this year. So we'll see if she'll have some redemption with her match.
Tough one down at the bottom half of the draw with Li and Kang is Zheng and Perova. Up and down season for both athletes.
Yeah, they both struggled here and there, and I think when I spoke with Perova, she said she's not very strong in her rankings, but when it comes to matches, that's when you see the fire in her eyes, and I'm sure it'll be no different from shooting against Zheng.
Yeah, big game archer. It looks like we're going to get another chance to have a chat with one of the athletes there, and I think it is that host nation athlete, Sayana Lee. She's going up against Kang Chai-young, and I think she's down on the field to have a chat with Chris Wells.
Sayana, congratulations on surviving the draw. You must be really looking forward to shooting this weekend in Russia.
Yeah, sure, I am excited. Very.
You were close to, you qualified actually outright in the end. You didn't get a host nation spot here. How happy were you to make a World Cup final?
Well, I was very excited because first when I lost in the stage in Turkey, I was kind of got sad that I was like maybe not enough for me to qualify, but then in the end, like I finished 8th, and it was a really good result for me this year.
Obviously, both you and Xenia are shooting here for Russia in the Recurve women's event, and you're on the same side of the draw. Do you think that gives a good chance for one of you to take gold here?
Yeah, of course. If each of us like will pass the first final, then we will meet, and surely one of us will gonna be in the final. So it's really good for us, for my country.
Okay, and in the first round, you will face world number 1 Kang Chai-young. Are you expecting a tough match? I'm sure you are. You're expecting a good match. What's the key to win it?
Well, of course, she's number 1. She's a world record holder. It's gonna be tough. Yeah. I'll hope for all the best for me.
Well, congratulations. Good luck. I hope it goes well for you.
Yeah, that will be a tough one, but she looks pretty relaxed here, and I think she's really pleased to be here too.
Yeah, that was the best interview ever. She's adorable, and I think she's going to shoot really well. She has a lot of respect for Korean archers, and I think Korean archers also have the same respect for her. It will be a really good match. She has the home court advantage, but Kang Chai-young, she's the destroyer. She's world number 1.
Yeah, nothing to lose though for Sayana Lee, and yeah, she looks like a very confident and relaxed young lady, but she's going up against Kang. So a reminder for the rest of the draw there: Tanya Ting up against Tomomi Sugimoto, Melanie Gobel of France will go up against Anne, and Zhen, the other Chinese athlete, goes up against Perova. So a really cracking lineup again there.
Yeah, I think if you mix this up anyway, it's going to be an awesome draw. The recurve women in this finals are also strong, and a good range of different athletes from a whole bunch of different countries. I think it'll be an awesome finals.
Certainly will be, and of course the recurve archery takes place over 70 meters as opposed to the compound, which takes place over 50 meters, and recurve archery is the Olympic archery discipline. The events are taking place on Friday and Saturday. It's Compound Friday here in Moscow. 2 sessions of live action starting at 1 p.m. local time, that's Moscow time, so midday Central European time. The second session starts at 5 p.m. Moscow time, and that's 4 p.m. Central European time. We then switch over to the recurve disciplines live on Saturday, again at 1 p.m. local time and 5 p.m. local time. And each session, Vanessa, will have the 4 quarterfinals, one after another. Then the semi-finals come out immediately, and then we go straight to the bronze and gold medal shoot-offs.
Yes, it's very different from any other World Cup that we see. It's the finals, and I think this is going to be a really good, this is a very good format because the archers don't cool down. They go from match to match to match all the way into the finals, and it's very exciting to watch.
And interestingly, this is one of the very few events, perhaps the only event on the World International Archery Circuit where there is no ranking round. How do the archers cope with that?
You know, it's very interesting because some archers fly from halfway around the world to potentially shoot in the recurve side a minimum of 9 arrows.
Yeah.
If you lose that first match in straight sets, you're going home after shooting only 9 arrows.
But we're in a great city. Moscow is a fabulous city. We're actually in a place called Goom, right on Red Square. St. Peter's Basilica, the Cathedral of St. Basil's is also just in front of us, in fact. A brilliant location. And this is like Russia's Moscow's biggest department store, if you like. It's full of very high-end shops. Have you had a little wander around?
Oh, yes, and there's no chance I can afford anything in here, but it's okay. I went sightseeing the past couple of days, and I can afford sightseeing. It's very, very beautiful. I mean, I never thought in my life that I would see some of the sights here. If you haven't been to Moscow, I think it's definitely some place to visit.
It certainly is, and the live archery action is taking place on a range that's just outside one of the biggest football stadiums here, the Luzhniki, which is not too far away from here, and it's a beautiful backdrop. And this host nation, this host city, has really taken archery to heart. We had a demonstration of some archery going over the balconies here in the department store. But now it's time to go back to the live draw, Vanessa, and it's time for the Recurve men's athletes to come out, and we will have Brady Ellison occupying the left-hand spot, the number 1, and Mete Gazos, who we caught a glimpse of earlier on, occupying position number 2. The other athletes to come out, 2 Koreans, Bae Jae-yeon, Kim Woo-jin, the Russian Artem Makninko is the host nation athlete. Maro Nespoli of Italy's in there, and then we've got 2 Dutch athletes, Chef van den Berg and Steve Valia. So, positions 1 and 2 automatically selected. So we begin the draw for the Recurve men's event. And that's Bae occupying position number 6. So Gazos' opponent has been called out, and that is Kim Woo-jin. Already a very big match there. Kim Woo-jin will go up against Mete Gazos. Position number 2, this is for the opponent, up against Brady Ellison. And it is the host nation, Artem Makninko. So Maro Nespoli coming out. He will, it doesn't really matter which position he occupies because he's drawn against the next athlete to come out. Oh no, there are two Dutch athletes coming out, but it is indeed Chef van den Berg who will face Maro Nespoli. So that means that Steve Valia will go up against Bae Jae-yeon. There is confirmation of that.
No, it looks like the 2 Dutch archers are meeting. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, now let's just have a look at that. It is van den Berg, and he's up against his teammate Valia, and it was Nespoli who moved over, and it's Nespoli who goes up against Bae. So the 2 Dutch athletes actually drawn against each other there. Confirmation, it's Brady Ellison against Artem Makninko from Russia. The American takes on the host nation athlete. Chef van den Berg from the Netherlands will take on his teammate Steve Valia. At the other end of, the other part of the draw, Maro Nespoli, the Italian Olympian, he goes up against Bae Jae-yeon, and another tasty one, Kim Woo-jin up against Mete Gazos. Well, I mean, it's a fascinating draw. Look, Kim against Gazos.
That was a shocker. That's going to be a very big match. You know, someone would expect this to be maybe the gold or maybe even a semi-final match, but in the first round, it's kind of heartbreaking to see 2 fantastic archers who have great potential at winning, meeting in the first round. Also, Bae and Kim being in the same side of the bracket, and Chef and Weiler, this is heartbreaking altogether. I mean,
yeah.
But it'll be a very good match to watch.
I think one athlete that's going to be very happy is the American Brady Ellison. It's 2019 has been his year, and it looks like we might get a chance to have a quick word with him. He's been drawn up against the Russian host nation place that went to Artem Makninko. Let's go and see what Brady Ellison has to say.
Brady, it's been your year so far. Just talk to me about that year and how you've managed to stay so consistent throughout the whole calendar.
I think it just started off this year being able to practice finally and kind of get a good base. And then I've just been able to kind of carry it through this crazy travel season that we've had. And now we're almost done. We just got this one left and one more after this in the States, but we're almost there.
And what would it mean to you to cap this season with a gold at the World Cup final and get that number 5 that we're waiting for?
I think it would be pretty awesome. I think it'd kind of be the cherry on top at the end of this year. Ultimately, I just want to shoot good here, win, lose, draw, whatever. I just want to perform well, keep it up, and then, keep this going into next year.
It's the second year in a row we do a draw, so it's random who you face. But I think it's the second year in a row that you face the host nation representative. Bit of luck there.
It's just, I guess, the way they're falling for me right now. I think this year every match is going to be tough. My side of the bracket has the 2 Netherlands guys in it, and they've both been the toughest matches I've shot all year. So I think our side of the bracket's going to be good, and then the other side of the bracket, they're knocking each other out early. So we'll see what happens.
And you're looking for your 5th World Cup final win here. Sarah is 2 on Friday. Who's going to get it? Both of you? One of you? And do you think it'll be you?
I'm hoping Toya wins, and then that will mean Sarah stays at 4, and then I could jump to 5 and get 1 ahead of her.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Well, interesting stuff there. Talking about his wife, Toya Ellison, who represents Slovenia, and he's a lucky boy. I think it would have been the one that he picked, taking on Maknenko there.
Yeah, I think so. But knowing Brady, I'm pretty sure he would have, been happy picking anybody. He has a mentality that if he's going to win, he has to get through everybody anyways. So I think he's going to do a great match, and he's going to do a great job with his shooting, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the finals.
Yeah, and remember, he's going for a record-breaking 5th World Cup final win, and he's in a tussle with Sarah Lopez. But the other interesting one we talked about was in that same half of the draw, Steve Valia, who's had an interesting season. He got a 2nd spot on the World Cup circuit this season, but not probably had his best season. He's the reigning European champion, and he's up against his teammate, Chef van der Berg. Before we get into that, let's go and have a word with them to see what they have to say about facing their teammate here in Moscow.
Steve, drawn against your teammate Chef in the first round, not what you wanted.
I didn't have any expectations on forehand, and to be honest, I don't really care against who I'm going to shoot. It's unfortunate that it's against Chef because it's my teammate, but we're still going to do the best we can and make a good match out of it.
Chef, you've had a great season so far, but you haven't bagged that podium finish, that big podium finish we're looking for. Is Moscow the place?
Obviously, that's what I'm after this weekend. I would have liked to shoot against somebody else because, it sucks shooting against a teammate. But on the other hand, it means that we have a semi-final for the Netherlands in the pocket. So, there's 2 ways to look at it, but I'm definitely going for a podium.
Looking at the draw and your side of the bracket versus the other side of the bracket, is there anyone in particular you're glad you avoided or you're unhappy that you ended up with?
To be honest, this is the first time I even think about it. I didn't look at the bracket, so I don't care.
Okay, and Chef, obviously if you do manage to beat Steve and get through to the semi-final, you'll either face Maknenko or Brady, who we know that you haven't yet beaten in international competition. What's the key to you doing that here if you make it that far?
Just doing my own thing, and I try to see this competition as a competition where I mostly have to beat myself. I need to shoot the best arrows I can and hope for the best. There's nothing more than I can do.
Well, good luck to both of you. Enjoy yourselves. Cheers.
Well, really interesting lineup there with the 2 Dutch athletes going up against each other. Chef van der Berg's probably had a little bit more of a consistent season, but Steve Valia's come good in the end, taking a medal at the European Games and at the World Championships.
Yeah, it's about consistency or moments of brilliance, and Steve came onto the scene and he just crushed it. He won his first ever World Cup, and this year he's had some moments of brilliance. Like I said, he had a silver medal in Antalya, but Chef, consistent 4th place finishes. His speed bump is Brady Ellison, but first he's going to have to face his brilliant counterpart, Steve Weiler.
Really tough top half of the draw in the men's recurve, and I think Kim Woo-jin and Mete Gazos, well, they've got the pressure on them drawing each other in the first one, but afterwards you probably expect them to be the favourites come through the bottom half of the draw.
I do, and that's the way I see it right now. I'd be interested to see if they can keep up the energy level that they had from the first match, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to be quite excited about that one, trying to get that win, and I would love to see if they're able to continue until the end.
Well, thank you very much, Vanessa Lee. I look forward to having you in the commentary box for the live action on Friday and Saturday.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to it.
So that concludes the draw here in Moscow. Remember, the compound archery will take place on Friday here in Moscow, starting at 1 p.m. for the first session and 5 p.m. local time for the second session. It's Recurve Saturday here in Russia's capital. Again, the session's beginning at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Thanks very much for joining us for the draw. Do come back and join us for the live action on Friday.